There we go.
There we are.
Yay! Let's get this muted so it doesn't blast in everybody's ears. See how much our lag is.
Well, I'm running at a higher resolution, so the lag's going to be a little longer.
There we go. Let's see how... Oh.
Can't even skip our own ads.
Da, 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 da.
Okay.
There we go. It's already muted. Or
it is.
Can everybody hear us? Let us know in the chat if you can hear us.
Yeah, still 720p, so we'll have to do settings next time. How are y'all doing?
Yeah.
It is.
Ooh, there we go. Can everybody hear us? Let us. All right, guys. Yay! We got new lights and a new webcam.
But we didn't set up the stream right, so we're not running at full resolution.
No, so next week will be even better, but our lighting looks great. We are here today we've got Nate over here answering questions for Handmade Alpha Academy. If you guys end up having questions about it, because it did open today, you can email me at starla@handmadealphaacademy.com. You technically are emailing him right now because I can't reply to you while we're live.
How many new students do we have? We have 20 new students so far.
Yay! 20 new alphas are in. Woo! And today we are joined with one of our not new alphas. She's been an HAA student for a while. Leslie, if you want to say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
She had some issues trying to log on today, but she made it on. Are you on your phone today?
Yes.
That's why we've got a vertical screen for Leslie. But either way, they're here for the content, Leslie. They don't care about the screen size. What they want to know is the content, which we will be getting to at noon, which is in about 5-6 minutes. But before that, guys, Handmade Alpha Academy did open today, bright and early at 6 a.m. We had Nate spend the night because we were working into the wee hours. In fact, they stayed up all night and just took a nap. I stayed up all night the night before. We have been preparing nonstop with tons of updates. New bonuses. We have new bonuses for HAA. We have a new clipper bonus that will teach you how to cut out your products and yourself from photos so you can create really great marketing photos. There's an amazing example of that in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community wall from our Alpha Kate. If you scroll down and look for the flamingo picture, she made that using the new bonus. We also are offering 1 year of eRank Pro, which is valued at $120. We are paying out of pocket for that. We refuse to discount from Anthony Wolf because we absolutely love what Anthony does at eRank, and we want to make sure that we are paying in full for each of you guys who enrolls to be able to have that amazing opportunity. And this time around, for the first time, we're offering that to both payment plans, the 6-month payment plan, and the full enrollment. Last time we offered this, we were only able to do it if you paid in full, but now we're able to do it for payment plans as well. So super duper exciting. Lots of new things for a new year, our new 2019 class of HAA students. And if you guys are interested in learning more about Handmade Alpha Academy, you can click show more down below. Not only will you be able to see all of Leslie's links, which you'll definitely want to do after our Q&A today, but you'll also be able to pull open our Handmade Alpha Academy enrollment page, which includes your $1,000 community member discount, unless you want to pay in full. Otherwise, you can type in handmadealphaacademy.com/sales and you can pay us $1,000 more. But assuming that you don't want to do that, the discount link for community members is down below, along with all of the bonuses. So, guys, we are joined today with Leslie from Succulent Crystals Yoga Wear. Leslie, we're probably going to wait to actually get into your juicy topics until we hit noon on the dot. But let's talk a little bit about when did you join HAA? I can't remember.
You had like a special webinar with Renee Christine last fall, I guess.
Oh, so we did a right when it had opened for the first time, we did a webinar with Renee, and you joined through Renee?
Yep.
Is that where you heard about us?
Yeah.
Awesome. And did you know about me when because are you an HTU student as well?
No, I was just a webinar junkie, and I was watching all of Renee's free stuff and everyone's free stuff, and then so I really trusted her, even though I wasn't one of her students. But when she introduced you, I was like, no, I need this. It was just like clicked. So
that's perfect. Yeah, and I wasn't sure if you were in, because man, guys, I joined Handmade Titan University around, I think it's been like 4 years. It was a long time ago. Feels like it's been longer than that, doesn't it? 5 years? 6 years? I don't know. I can't remember. I joined it right when she opened it. So me and Renee have been friends for a long time, and a lot of people do find me through Renee. So thank you to Renee. She's probably too busy to be watching today, but thank you to Renee wherever you are. I'm sure that some of her staff members are in here. All right, guys. So Handmade Alpha Academy will be closing on June 23rd, which is 10 days from today. It will be closing at 11:59 p.m., which is almost midnight on the 23rd, on the night of the 23rd and the morning of the 24th. So if you do not enroll, you will have to wait a whole 7 months to be able to enroll when we open again in December. Yay! So super duper exciting. Let's see. We've got a lot of people in the chat, Leslie. So many people are saying hi to you.
Hi, guys.
Let's see. I'm listening while weeding my roses. Yay, finally made it on time for a change.
Me.
Love this topic. Let's do this. Happy Friday, Alphas. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull open our intro, and I think that we're good to start with about 2 minutes to spare. But if you guys end up having questions about Handmade Alpha Academy, you are free to email me at starla@handmadealphaacademy.com, which I will go ahead and type.
Midnight and what time zone? Eastern Standard Time.
handmadealphaacademy.com. If you end up needing to email me, Nate is over there watching our emails diligently to help you if you need it. So Leslie, let's chitty chat about your shop. What do you sell and what is the name of your shop?
My shop is called Succulent Crystals, and I sell women's activewear, yoga clothes, leggings. In the summer, I just launched bathing suits and beach accessories. So basically women's wear. The name came from before I had really honed it into yoga clothes. So I kept it just because I have a lot of brand recognition on Instagram for Succulent Crystals. And it's kind of I include succulents and crystals in most of the design, but the main theme is like the lifestyle of a modern fairy. So anything like magical and whimsical kind of goes into the design.
That's perfect. What did you sell? So you narrowed down your brand image to the yoga wear, but before that, what did your shop look like?
It was gross.
What was in? Was this before HAA? Were these like the pre-HAA days?
So pre-HAA days, I had a shop when I was like around 18, I think, and I'm a sculptor mostly, and then I started painting too. So when I had the shop before, I was sculpting things, and it was just like customs, whatever I thought of, and I made I had a custom cat that a lady ordered, and I made the cat. It looked great. She said, "Oh, I'm crying. It looks exactly like Frou Frou or whatever its name was." And she said, it's just so detailed. Could you make it a little more cartoony? And so I was like, this is so weird. So I stripped down some of the detail and made it a little more cartoony. And then she emails back and she's like, oh, it's now, it's like this big. So she's like, now it's missing the little mole that's on its chin. So I changed that. And then she emails back several days later and she's like, I think the color is a little bit off.
Oh, no.
One of those.
Threw the cat in the trash and closed down my store.
That, you know what? I don't blame you.
Not at all.
And I don't think anyone here blames you. I've had people do the same to me though with my own shop, and
Yeah.
you get to the point where you just have to say no. So what made you decide to switch to exclusively yoga attire as opposed to clay cats?
So yeah, then I reopened a shop. Thought, well, now I'm going to paint and I'm not going to do any more customs, but it was still the same story, just whatever I would wake up that day and decide to make. And then when I started looking at Renee Christina, I started hearing all these crazy words like product lines and target market. And so I started the journey of like making an actual brand. And then finally, when I got into HAA, I was like, okay, I can't just have a theme of anything that has succulents and crystals on it. I have to like make this just one thing. So that's when it became a yoga apparel shop.
Yeah, and your open date, your shop open date, it was what when did you technically open this shop? Because I know it was a while ago. Like the year is
2016, and I was just painting signs and whatever the heck I thought of, and then when I actually started like officially a business, it was January of 2018. And then that fall was when I started Handmade Alpha Academy.
Okay, so your new succulent crystals as yoga attire is a new 2018 brand. So you really haven't been like succulent crystals yoga wear
really only
for that long.
9 months now.
Okay, perfect.
Full collection launch, yeah.
So it's almost like a whole new business. That's great. So
like starting from before zero, because you have to rewind and everyone's like, wait, what are you doing now?
Exactly. But you know, once you get that momentum going and you have that defined brand image, which I feel like you definitely do now, everybody knows what you're all about. Your logo shows what you're all about. Your branding shows what you're all about. Your products show what you're all about. So everything is super duper cohesive. And I think that now, though it might have been confusing at first with clay cats and paintings and everything else, now I think that you're well off and you have an amazing brand. And guys, if you want to check out exactly what we're talking about, go ahead and click show more under this video. A bunch of links will pop up and you can check out all of Leslie's social media accounts. You can check out her Etsy shop. You can check out her Pinterest, which I love. I absolutely love her Pinterest. And you can check out her Instagram, which really shows off some of the things that we're talking about today when it comes to her her influencer stuff. So let's go ahead and start talking about that. Leslie, what is influencer marketing?
So influencers are people that have a lot of following. So Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever social media they are rocking at, they have a huge following. They have people that already love them. They have their own sort of brand. And so influencer marketing is taking their following and just borrowing it for a post or a review or whatnot. So if social media is a cocktail party, like you describe it, you're basically coming into the cocktail party as the honored guest of the owner of the house. So it's just borrowing that following for a little bit.
Exactly. And when you say they have their own brand, I think that a lot of people get confused because they assume that they need to link up with other like businesses that sell a product, when in reality, a lot of these people, they are their brand. They are branding themselves. We're talking about, you know, these girls who just, they take beautiful photos on beaches and they live in these wonderful scenic locations and they just always have an eye for photography, and they are willing to basically market for you in a way where you guys can kind of share that audience and you get really cool photos in exchange too, which Leslie, you have some great photos.
Thank you.
You have amazing photos with your product. So what type of collaborations have you done in the past with brand influencers?
So I've done 5 different ones. Some of them really overlap. So the first one covered was just a product in exchange for a post or a review, and mostly Instagram. So I had no idea what I was doing. I just thought, I had this one lady that I followed on Instagram that had a target, you know, an audience, at least 200,000 followers. And her audience was my target market. And I just knew that. And I was like, oh, if I could just get her people to see my stuff, it would be so amazing. But I didn't research anything. This was before Handmade Alpha Academy. It was last summer. And I had made a bathing suit that was amethyst print on one side and succulents on the other. So I was starting to dabble in that. And I just DM'd her on Instagram. I didn't know how to do this professionally. It was terrible. I can't believe that she wrote me back. But finally, when she actually posted the bathing suit, which was months after we talked about it, and I had kind of given up on it, I had such a flood of emails and messages about that bathing suit that my first thought was, I'm being scammed somehow, which I don't know like how I thought that was a scam, but I thought this can't be real. So that was when I realized this is a major key. And that's still the main kind of collaboration that I do today, is just sending a product to someone, having them try it out, and maybe they'll post, you know, a picture on Instagram and just talk about it. Or usually how it works out is, you know, they post once and talk about it, but then they still want to wear the stuff. So every time they wear it for months afterwards, they'll tag your brand in the picture or whatever. So that's the most simple way. And then another one is to do like an exclusive giveaway on an influencer's page. So, and you can always send over your own followers too. You know, if you want to win this, go to this person's page and you can enter their giveaway.
And we've got kind of a template for that in Handmade Alpha Academy as well, for reaching out to those influencers to do those kind of like joint giveaways.
Oh yeah, you made it way easier. But before I was just shooting in the dark.
Yeah, we've got like a cheat sheet in there. If you don't know what to say to the influencers, you can just kind of steal it and copy and paste it and not have to worry about coming up with something that sounds right.
So you can do an exclusive giveaway to an audience's page or an influencer's page. And I've done that before where it worked out kind of like double reward, because the first time I did that, the person that she chose to win ended up being like a yoga model in the UK who's got hundreds of thousands of followers herself. So sometimes you'll do one of these collaborations and then it just branches off into like so many different cool things. So number 3, I've done sponsoring a challenge, which I don't know if this really translates to other industries, but you
could make it translate. You could invent a challenge around your product.
For sure. So in the yoga community on Instagram, I don't know if any of you have seen this, but they do yoga challenges where a few hosts will get together. They have a list of poses that they post, one post every day. They have an exclusive hashtag that they use, and then their followers all have to follow each other, and they post the pictures of themselves doing the poses each day. And so it's just like a fest of likes and comments and new followers from everyone. And then you as the brand will sponsor, so they pick winners at the end and you sponsor that prize at the end. But it's a great way to boost, you know, Instagram algorithm issues where everyone's commenting and liking and showing Instagram that your page is relevant. And then you're getting, and I also usually give a discount to the hosts. So a lot of times they'll purchase stuff to wear during the challenge too. So then you're also getting pictures from them that they're posting in the stuff. You're getting all this brand recognition and people looking at your page, and then you give away a prize at the end. And so that's a really good way to do that. That's like a lot of different rewards for just basically giving away one item and a discount code.
Yeah. And for the challenges, you know, a lot of people in different industries might say, how can I make this apply to me? But if you have enough people like friends, maybe alphas in your industry who are friends with you, maybe you could post in the Handmade Alpha community, you can start your own challenges. You could do, you know, if maybe all the shops who create bracelets all get together and they say, okay, our challenge is we want everyone to take a picture of themselves holding a coffee mug with their bracelet visible, and we're going to use this special hashtag, and we're all going to do it, and we're all going to ask our audience to do it, and we're going to turn it into like a new trend, and then we're all going to piggyback on each other. So that might be a way to do it. You just got to be creative.
Yeah, there really are so many different fun things you can do, and people love just, you know, joining in on stuff like that. And
that herding that we talk about in HAA, that crowd mentality, getting people in on the herd, because naturally humans want to all do the same thing. Everybody, that's what trends are, where we notice patterns in other people and we want to follow the herd and do what everyone else is doing. I mean, in the psychology behind that is if you're the outcast and the tribe is all warm in the cave, all huddled together, sharing the food, sharing the warmth, sharing the fire, and you're the guy who's not in the cave, you're the one who's going to die while everybody else is, you know, part of the pack. So you have to follow that herd. And that's why psychologically, these herd mentalities where we all try to jump on a trend, that's where that is actually rooted from.
Life or death.
Exactly. It's life or death.
Yeah. That's why this is so powerful too, because not only are these people seeing just their peers wearing your stuff or promoting your stuff, but they're seeing, you know, people that they see as like, oh, I want to be like her. And your brand is getting put up. I was telling you, Starla, like this is a physical, like visual way to position yourself next to your highest competitors. So like, you know, these yoga models or influencers on Instagram are posting Nike in one picture and whatever other big brands, and then succulent crystals in the next. And it's like visually, you're right there next to your highest competitors.
Exactly. And even if Nike isn't your competitor, they're correlating that value. They're like,
value
wow,
by association.
Exactly. Someone's like, wow, this person is wearing like $150 pair of premium Nikes, and they're wearing these great, you know, we'll say leggings with these Nikes. And then that association builds and people kind of see this as one big like packaged image that they can get in on by buying the pieces of this complete look. So That's perfect. So guys, I mean, there's a million ways that you can do this in every single industry. You just kind of have to find the influencers of your industry that target the type of shopper that you want to work with. And there, you don't have to just go after like these, beautiful blonde models who take, beach photos and, they're pretty coffee shop photos. Like if your target market isn't that, you need to find the type of person who isn't. Maybe your target market is like knitting grandmas. I'm sure that there are plenty of influencer grandmas who are just really good at social media on Instagram. I follow a couple like influencers who are like in their 80s. I mean, look at, do you know Batty Winkle?
Yes.
I love Batty Winkle. She's adorable. But there are people like that. You just have to find them. So find them.
And an influencer doesn't mean they have hundreds of thousands of followers either.
No.
If
they just need to have great followers.
Yeah. If they have 8,000 followers and they're getting 1,000 likes on a picture, that's incredible engagement. And that's a target market that you want to reach. So let's see. I think I was on number 3. So the other 2 ways that I've collaborated with people are kind of the same. I've worked with like up and coming photographers and models that they get the product because they have to photograph it, but they're mostly just working for the exposure. So that kind of comes as your own social following gets bigger and bigger, you become that influencer too, where people want to just collaborate with you just for getting on your page. So as you grow and you start growing with other people, they're also investing in your page and you're investing in theirs. And you're not only building a community of followers, but you're building this network of people that, are so invested in your business, and you're sharing the growth. And it's just a great thing because you get back so many more times what you put into it. Just giving away a product, you get back so much more than if you would have spent that money on, just like a Google ad or whatever.
So rather than like piggybacking on a very, very successful influencer at that point, what you're doing is really almost helping the influencer or photographer as much as they're helping you, and you're growing together.
Yeah, definitely.
That's great.
The last thing, I've actually traded for my listing photos for, I've got a plus size collection coming up in August. And up until now, I get my listing photos by bribing my little sister to come over with like rosé and strawberries. And but she's a size medium. And I don't have that many friends. So I needed a bunch of different ladies of different sizes. And so I had to go out and reach out to plus size models and yogis on Instagram. And I've worked with 3 ladies, and they've given me the most beautiful listing photos and marketing photos. And I've literally got my entire 3 months of marketing for my August launch taken care of because I gave away, 4 products.
That's killer.
And that's so great because brands like Aerie by American Eagle, and there's a ton of brands that are jumping on, using more natural models and not just the go-to, super skinny blonde petite models like what we saw. Even like 5 years ago, it was still like that. So I feel like this is what's going to take your brand to the next level, is getting on board with these models who are all different sizes that represent all different body types, because that's really, I feel like that's what your brand is kind of all about. It's about, having that inner fairy, no matter what size you are.
Yeah. Loving yourself on the journey. And that's what I've wanted to do since the beginning. And I felt like that was definitely holding me back because I didn't offer plus sizes yet. And I was like, man, how can I tell people to love themselves on the journey if I'm only offering up XL?
Exactly. And then only being able to represent like your own body type or your friends' body types, because those are the only people that you have to get photos from. So it makes it a lot easier when you've got some more friends in the industry who can start helping you out. And now I think that it's safe to say that you've probably built some forever relationships with these ladies, where if, for future collections, you want to say, hey, do you want one of these new free things too?
And that goes with almost everyone that I've worked with. They're like, man, I can't wait till your next collection, or I'm so excited for your brand. I had one of the plus size ladies was like almost in tears, leaving me these voice messages saying like, I'm so excited for you. These leggings fit so well, and they fit better than your leggings, and I just can't get these out to the public. And they feel like they're part of your brand. You know what I mean? Like they feel like they're on your team, and they're excited to collect just like you are.
That's great. So we are going to go ahead. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, or would you like them? I went ahead and asked them to start typing some questions into the chat.
Question already.
Yeah, we did have some questions. Are you ready for some questions, Leslie, or is there anything that you wanted to add?
I think that's pretty much it. I wrote a bunch of notes, but I think I pretty much said everything.
I'm sure that some of those notes will come back, like as we're answering questions, you can pull some of those things back out. But Nikki Pope, actually, she has 2 questions. Were you able to manage the influx of orders right away? So I think that she means like when you started working with influencers, for one, did you see a lot more orders when you started working with these influencers, or was it more of like a gradual climb? Was it like a lot all at once, or was it like, you know, more of a sprinkling of gain?
It's going to be kind of up and down. Sometimes you just hit that, like, I don't know what, you can't really tell up front if it's going to be a slow growth with one influencer and then the next one posts and you get like 10 orders that day. So you kind of never tell. But I made, when I started listening to Renee Christine, like I was telling you, I started my business model as immediately scalable. So what I do is I paint and graphically design all of the prints, and then I use a print on demand to print and sew them and ship them to my customers. So I'm really, my 99% of my job is marketing. Like
that's great though. That's like where 99% of your effort should come in is marketing.
Yeah. So yeah, with my model, I'm definitely able to, you know, have as many orders come in as possible. But, you know, you do have to make sure that your business is scalable before you start getting hundreds of orders come in.
Yeah.
That goes without, that's no matter what you're doing, you know, you want those orders to come in. So you want your business to be scalable.
Right. And, you know, since you do print on demand, and this is kind of what Della just asked, how do you stock for a new release, make a number of each size, or print on demand? And she does print on demand, but do you ever utilize any scarcity tactics, even though you are print on demand? Is there ever any scarcity that you're able to sprinkle in with that marketing?
Yes, I always try to do that and that comes in with getting your pricing right, because I did my pricing almost as high as I could. And then you want to do flash sales. So the scarcity comes in with time, you know, so your flash sales are a good way to do that. And then also pretty much the only items that I keep in my shop are my signature collection. And then like summer is going to be gone in a month or 2. So there's still, even though it's the 3-month time window, it's still like, oh, this isn't going to be here forever. So just doing, you know, retiring collections basically.
Perfect. And I'm looking through, I've actually been admiring your Facebook page, which I've looked at your Facebook page before, but I hadn't looked at it since you started doing the swimwear. And there is such a variety of colors and different backgrounds, and it's just so cohesive. How did you get all of these great backgrounds? I know a lot of these photos are of yourself. We'll start with the first question about the great backgrounds, because the photos are beautiful.
That just like your special update that you did in HAA a couple of days ago, I basically add the backgrounds. So I always try to photograph myself or whoever I'm photographing on a white, or, you know, as close to white wall as I can. And then it's easy to, you know, clip and add backgrounds as needed. And the reason I did the colors is because of your spring and summer trends, where we were looking at Target.com and saw all the, you know, nice aqua backgrounds, and I was like, ooh, my target market would really like this, like a checker, you know, like on my Instagram grid, there'll be a natural photo and then a colored background photo and then a natural, and then so it's like a nice, I don't know, grid, I guess.
Yeah, it looks aesthetically, because a lot of people, they think about Instagram and they just post, you know, in the moment, and they don't really think it through. But ideally what you want for a great Instagram and guys, I'm really bad at this for my own handmade business, but we've been working on it with eRank. What I like to see is that picture of all of those items, like all together, when you go to somebody's Instagram, like home screen, and you see that full page of images, how they all kind of speak to each other and make up one big picture rather than just how one singular image looks. I like to really analyze how that singular image looks in the grand scheme of things. And if you look at my own Starla K Moore Instagram account, you'll notice that as of I would say about 6 months ago, I started really trying to keep my palettes consistent, and the colors that you see and this yellow color that we've now incorporated into the Handmade Alpha branding, we really try to sprinkle those colors into almost every single photo. So just being consistent with those things is really important. And then Leslie, my other question that I had for you is, in between working with influencers, I know that you model a lot of products yourself. And I also have a lot of alphas who ask similar questions. They ask, does it look weird to, oh,
did we lose her?
Nope, there she is.
Back.
As long as you can hear us. Does it look weird, or do you think that anybody would perceive it weird that the shop owner is the model? And I have an answer for this, but I just want to, I want to see if you've ever gotten negative feedback from people saying, oh, you shouldn't model your own products.
No, absolutely not. Because it's like, that's another thing where it's kind of like 2 for 1, because, you know, you need to have FaceTime with your followers and you need to show your face. And so why not? You're kind of, as I was saying, like you're building your own brand as an influencer too. And so you're showing your face and you're showing that you're enjoying your products. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
No,
I've never
not at
heard
all.
someone say that was weird. So
We see are you wearing some of your leggings right now? Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah.
There they are. Of course you are.
Go and plug in the phone, so I'm like in bad lighting now.
No, you're fine. You're perfectly fine. And I mean, we've got an expensive like light setup, so we already knew that when we'd have guests on from now on, it's going to be like switching from super high def to just like normal.
The only thing I don't like now is we have a Logitech friggin' watermark.
Is that on our?
I don't know how to get rid of that.
No,
so
it's
have to figure,
oh
yeah,
no,
it is.
it is.
But it's behind our logo, so it's okay.
Oh well,
We'll figure that out. New stuff, new equipment.
New equipment. That's all right. Let's see. And we've had a repeat of kind of one of the questions. Could you answer this again? For Melissa, she wants to know, how do you build scarcity with your POD business? Just quick summary of how you do that.
So I usually have retiring collections. You know, they'll be around for 3 months, and then after that, they're gone. So my summer collection, I launched at the beginning of May, and it will be done before my August collection launches. And then flash sales are another good way. So you want to price your products high enough that people are staring at them, waiting for the price, you know, to get knocked off 15% or whatever. So flash sales are a good way to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's what I had said before.
yeah. And guys, another thing that you can do that kind of, it promotes scarcity, but it's not like you're retiring products, is when you do print on demand. What a lot of our alphas and HAA experiment with is putting a limited quantity rather than listing a quantity of a product at like 100, doing it at like 5. And then when it sells out or it gets down to a quantity of 1, just adding in, you know, 4 more. And that seems to help quite a bit as well. Have you ever experimented with that, Leslie, or do you have like a high quantity on your products?
Oh yeah, no, when I first started with the print on demand, they top it out at like 999 products in each listing, and I didn't really mess with it. And so now I put it to 20 at the beginning of the launch. Some of them I do 10, so that's now.
Perfect. And then Anthony, what's that question? Or Mark, sorry, nobody knows you as Anthony.
I noticed your Tumblr has, it looks like a large dog image on it. Good marketing for the illustrator. This is also my niche. So as long as we're on this, may I send you an image?
Wait, what? Is that me?
Oh, I don't know.
Susan?
Who are you talking to, Susan?
Susan, reiterate. We're a little confused about what you're talking about.
So probably Starla.
Starla. I don't have a Tumblr. I'm confused. I have a Tumblr for Art by Starla Moore, but I don't think I have a Tumblr. Not that I know of. All right. So let's see. Guys, go ahead and throw in your questions to Leslie. You guys were so full of questions, and now I think we're out of questions. So get those questions into the comments. Leslie, we've got a lot of alphas who have been posting in the group, wanting to know just overall experiences about Handmade Alpha Academy. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to just like, if you hated it or if there was anything that you didn't like about HAA. No, serious. No, I'm being serious. I want you to be serious and just let us know.
Absolutely terrible. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it, guys. Don't do it. You'll hate it. But was there anything in HAA that was particularly challenging for you, going through the course, or was there anything that was especially hard for you to complete? Did you have any like really rough challenges?
I think I was very ready for all the information, and so there wasn't anything hard. There was just like I was just like soaking it up as fast as I could and doing it as fast as I could, because I was like, this has to be implemented right now. My shop is disgusting. So I guess just like actually working through it and making sure that you're doing it in detail and not just going as fast as you can be a challenge, because as soon as you see the whole picture of like how far your shop needs to go, you're going to freak out.
So pace yourself, breathe, take your time.
Take your time. I guess defining target market, because I had been so all over the place, that was kind of a challenge. Like it took, definitely a couple days to sit there and be like, what one problem do I want to solve, instead of trying to solve every problem for everyone that I've ever met on Instagram.
Yeah, that's a big part of HAA, is actually identifying the problems that your customers are having. And we have like a very special top secret technique for finding what problems they could be experiencing and how you can actually solve those problems for them through your products. But that is probably the most like posts that we get in the Handmade Alpha Academy student campus are from alpha saying, I can't figure out what problems my target market, face. But then other students have the opportunity to weigh in and kind of talk about it, and you've got that support there. So we are now we're getting questions. Everyone's chatty now. Emily, who is one of my friends, and she is an amazing model, she wants to know, do you find that you reach out to influencers, or do they contact you more now that you've started doing this?
Both. So when it first started, I had to reach out to a lot of people, and you have to reach out to more people than you expect to hear back from, for sure. I had like a whole Excel sheet of people that I wanted to work with, and maybe if I contacted like 20 one week, I think I'd hear back from maybe 4 or 5. So you can't expect to hear back from everyone, and you won't get like flat out rejections, because if people don't want to work with you, then they're just not going to write back. So you don't have to worry too much about like taking an ego hit. But once you start, like I was saying before, once you start collaborating and people see other people on your page and they see that you're wanting to reach out, now I get requests all the time. And so like for those yoga challenges, now I have to be super choosy. I can't sponsor every yoga challenge that I come across. So you get to a place where people are constantly reaching out and wanting to work with you. So that gets fun.
So when you started out, did you follow the template that we have in HAA of how you reach out and how you remind the influencers and how you communicate with them? Did you use that template at all when you first started?
Yeah, I think I used it and reworded some things just to make sure it sounded like me and stuff.
Like your brand.
Yeah, that definitely helped as like a starting point, because before, and then, whenever you start like a new thing like this, you need to just Google the crap out of it. I read a bunch of, in addition to using the template, I read a bunch of different blog posts from influencers, like what they want, because then you have to think like, now they're kind of your target market. If you're trying to embark on something like this, you have to know how to sell to them too. So just research,
Exactly. Susan reiterated she didn't mean Tumblr like the social media Tumblr.
She meant Tumblr like the cup.
She said that she liked my cup and that she's in this market. I bought this from Kroger, and she complimented that it was that it fit the brand image, but everything in our house has like a wolf on it, and not related to HAA. That's just kind of our thing, and it always has been. But yeah, if you would like to send me an image, Susan, you're more than welcome to. All right, Red Fence Quilting asks, which social media platform was the best in using influencers?
For my target market, it's definitely Instagram. I have a really hard time with Facebook. Just my people don't hang out on Facebook, so every audience is going to be different. You know, I have a lot of views on Pinterest. I think that's a good way to get, you know, seen. But as far as community and people, influencers definitely are a lot on Instagram right now. So for my target market, Instagram 100%.
Yeah. And Instagram, I feel like that is the location for influencers. Influencers all live on Instagram. So that's where I would start, especially with researching. Let's see. I'll let you answer this, Leslie. My Paper Passion asks, is HAA a guided academy, or do we work through the modules at our own pace?
So you'll get all the modules all at once, and you get to keep them for the rest of your life. And yeah, you do it at your own pace. You can go as fast or slow as you want. And some modules you'll breeze through, and others you'll have to take, you know, days or weeks on. But you always have the Facebook group to go to if you have questions. Starla is always available, which I thought was so amazing, because I remember like the first time I posted a question in Handmade Alpha student campus, Starla responded. I was like, oh my gosh, she's actually she's
I reply to things. I'm a person.
Yeah, she's real.
I'm real. We've also got Mark answers all website login, billing, and tech related questions, which we kind of, I don't want to like name any companies, but there's a lot of predatory companies out there that will tell you that it's going to be really expensive to fix a very basic problem with your hardware. And they're literally just doing that to steal your money. And Mark can usually tell you if that's something that you need to pay for, or if they're just trying to steal your money. And then we have Nate, who is on our team now. Nate, what are your roles for HAA? What customer service do you support or help? Or
I'm really like a point person for anything branding, visual, aesthetics, marketing, but also like business mindset. I've helped a couple of different people out at this point with like just like they're trying to make a really big business decision and they don't have the confidence in themselves to go forth and do what they know they should be doing. And I kind of help get them to where they need to go in terms of like their mindset.
So there, and he also can help you read your social media analytics and business budgeting. So those so he's new here. Lena asks, how often do you release new collections?
Me? I do. Well, it hasn't been a year since I started releasing collections. So let's see, I did one when I joined HAA. I hurried and did one for fall and winter, and it wasn't great. And then I did a spring collection in the beginning of February, and then I did a summer collection at the beginning of May. So I'm kind of going for every, 4 times a year, every quarter, but it just depends on how fast you can get everything done.
And do you feel like in HAA, we call this rolling the snowball, where you start with a little snowball and your first launch that you release with HAA, if you don't already have like a huge following, it's not like you're just going to launch a collection once you start HAA and it's going to sell out and you're going to make $1 million. But what happens is with every launch that you have, using this particular strategy that we teach, that snowball, you roll it. And as you roll it, the following grows, the snowball gets bigger and your launches then get bigger. Is that how you felt that your launches have been? Have they been getting progressively better as you go and easier?
Yes, definitely. And just knowing, you can know all the steps kind of, and still not really, like your first launch is just going to be a mess. You just have to accept that. And then as you go, you look back and you say, oh, I'm going to do this so much better this time. And you just grow each time yourself too. And then obviously your fans are conditioned more and more to, expect what to expect from you. So they definitely get better each time.
Perfect. Let's see. Anna and Rachel Vollmer said target market is so hard. And that's another big one in Handmade Alpha Academy, that once they get to the target market part, a lot of them get like caught up on some of the smaller aspects of a target market. Leslie, during module 2 for target market, when you were going through that, was that like a struggle for you, trying to really nail down all of their problems and the kind of the culture behind that target market when you're doing that target market identity exercise?
That part, it definitely feels like work, because you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know what she looks like. Starla, why are you asking me this? And you just have to sit there and kind of start, you're just using your imagination. And at some points I was just like writing and I was like, I don't know, this is silly. And you just kind of have to go through the motions until something clicks and you're like, actually, this person does remind me of this person that I follow on Instagram, and this actually all of her followers would be kind of in this section of the world. So it's kind of like, yeah, it does feel like work at first, and it feels like just doing the steps maybe, and then at some point you realize, no, this is real, this is really important.
Yeah. And once you start like digging into who these people are, looking at their followers, it gets to the point where like at first everything is really shaky because nothing fits into perfect square boxes. Like it's hard at first, but the more that you do it, eventually that target customer just exists in your mind to the point where there is no more questions or confusion or, everything. There's no sensitivity to it. It's just know exactly who you're working with at all times. And once you get that picture painted, it's forever. It's a forever image of that customer that you're going to work with. So Elizabeth asks, let's see, I think this one's directed towards me. How do you do a crochet shop where you can only make one item every 2 to 3 days? I do crochet baby dresses. You price very high and you market like crazy. Obviously, your products are going to be scarce because you're not going to be able to mass produce them, which means because you're putting so much time into them, you need to position yourself at the very top of your industry and not just be a crochet shop, but be one of the best crochet shops in positioning and branding. That way you can charge crazy prices for all of the work that you put in. And ultimately, that's what Handmade Alpha Academy teaches, is how to put yourself at the top of your positioning. And Leslie, I feel like, you are in a niche within a niche with your brand. I feel like there's you're not just yoga, you're a very specific type of yoga. Yeah. Do you feel like you're at the top of your industry?
I don't think I am yet. I have 1 or 2 competitors, and they're not on Etsy. But so yeah, on Etsy, I'm at the top of my, but in general, I've got some work to do.
Yeah. Visually though, like aesthetically, your shop is just absolutely phenomenal. And guys, if you've missed it, be sure to click show more and you can open up both the $1,000 discount link to Handmade Alpha Academy, but you can also find all of Leslie's information, all of her social media accounts, and her Etsy shop if you want to go check it out. So Kristen asks, how did you find a good partner to make your items? So how did you find your POD partner?
I literally just researched every single one that existed and decided what was the best for me. At that point, you read blog posts, you sign up. I signed up for like 5 different ones, and I ordered products, and I decided which one's the best. So it's going to depend on what you want and what's important for you.
Yeah. And definitely look at reviews. Like you can always research these companies and look at everybody's experiences with them and really just do process of elimination and find the company that you're most comfortable working with. So,
if you from your company, because some of the ones that I signed up for, I was like, I had a problem and I couldn't get, help. You need direct communication if you're going to be hiring these people to do work for you, basically.
Yeah. And you definitely don't want it to be like one of those things where you reach out to customer service and they don't get back with you for like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and
3 weeks.
And you've got an angry customer who wants to know, where is my item right now? So make sure that,
immediate answers.
Exactly. Now my paper passion asks a question that directly correlates to, I feel like the marketing mountain in Handmade Alpha Academy. Leslie, do you have a good understanding of the marketing mountain?
I think so.
Okay. She wants to know, do you advertise having a collection and other products in your shop, or only having collections in your shop? So when you're marketing, are you marketing just collections, or are you marketing collections and like individual products that are also in your shop?
So you're marketing when you launch a collection, basically the marketing mountain, you announce the collection as a whole. Leading up to it, what's the word? I don't remember. You do like a frenzy of marketing leading up to it, saying, all right, it's only one day until the
hyper marketing.
Yeah, hyper marketing. And then, when you launch, you don't just start off on, and this product is in the collection. No, you start marketing the collection as a whole. And then you go into a couple weeks later, you go into, customer reviews. This one's a bestseller from this collection. So then you kind of break it down and go into specific pieces.
Exactly. Perfect. And that is from our marketing mountain. And that's in module 5, I believe, of HAA. It's hard to remember where everything is. It's so vast. Nikki asks, have you ever contracted anything
Besides your product?
besides your products, like Fiverr? And if so, what? Like, have you ever hired out anything like a logo or anything like that through Fiverr or another service?
I tried to purchase a logo from someone on Etsy at one point. I hated it, so I made one myself.
Yeah, a lot of the times with Etsy, and we talk about this in HAA, how if you order like a logo that's already created on Etsy and you don't have a designer create it just for you, they usually what they do is they sell that logo to everybody. That logo is just available for anybody to buy, and then they just slap your brand name on it. And then, someday you might end up finding another company that actually uses an identical logo to yours. So it's best to work with an actual like graphic designer on a website like Fiverr.
Or do it yourself.
Or do it yourself, which, to be honest, guys, I see a lot of people who say, I'm just going to do it myself. And they're not graphic designers. And by the looks of their logo, literally everybody can tell.
Some people just aren't artistically minded when it comes to digital art.
Yeah.
Like if that's you, don't be afraid to reach out and get somebody else to do it.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it's sometimes logos can get, they can get a little pricey. I think that usually about you can pay for a $5 logo on Fiverr, but typically I would recommend trying to get like $30 to $50. How much did you pay for the Rendering Silence logo?
Oh God. I
like
mean,
$60
well,
for
we
the full
got
package?
like 5 totally different images. So it was like $75.
Yeah, and that's not bad because you can apply them to everything. That was for when he was buying a logo.
$12 a piece.
Yeah, buying a logo for his band. And it's so worth it, guys, to look professional and not have a logo that makes you look like you created it in like Microsoft Paint with Comic Sans.
Yeah. All solid flat colors with no texture, and
Yeah. So guys, let's go ahead and get any last minute questions for Leslie before we move on. I'm looking through all of your product photos. And one thing I can tell by scrolling through your actual Facebook photos is that your image quality has gotten progressively better over time.
Yeah.
Was it hard to get rid of the succulent themed jewelry? Like, did it hurt your heart at all to get rid of those items? Because
Yeah.
they're beautiful. They're very beautiful. They're just not yoga wear.
Yep. So I tried one last time in the spring. I put one listing for like 6 custom, like I had them made, but I was going to do whatever colors they picked. And that was the last time that I introduced it, and nobody bought it. It's like, no. I had to let go of that slowly for sure.
Right. Yeah. And, guys, just because you enjoy making something, if it isn't something that fits with your brand at all, if it isn't something that fits with the business that you want to build over the next 10 years,
if it's too niche,
sometimes
you can come up with some things where your artistic freedom gets a little bit too crazy, and the product that you end up coming out with is something that there isn't really a market for.
We call that the nudist Buddhist in Handmade Alpha Academy. There's a reason for that. But yeah, so sometimes products can be too niche. But what you can do then is, like, if that's your creative outlet, still continue making those products. Make them for your friends, make them for Christmas gifts, and I mean, if you wanted to set up another shop, you totally could, but I usually recommend making sure that you get your first shop to the point of sustainability before you try to start another one, unless you're doing, I mean, if you're doing a print on demand shop, you probably have a little bit more freedom. But Leslie, can you imagine running like multiple shops right now, even doing print on demand?
Yeah, no, I literally, when I did finally start honing in what I was doing, split my shop into 2 shops. And so I still have a shop out there on Etsy somewhere that's just on vacation mode because I didn't want to let go of all those other products that didn't match.
Are you ever going to open it back up, or is it just forever in limbo?
I think it's just gone. But yeah, no, my husband's been like, why don't you, pay a little attention to that one? You could do both. And I'm like, I don't think I can. It's so much work marketing one shop if you're doing it correctly.
Yeah. And that's what, I always say is that running a successful shop takes 100% of your effort. And if you're not dedicating 100% of your time, there's probably something that you're either forgetting to do or you're not doing to the best of your ability, which is usually marketing. Usually marketing is the number one thing that people neglect.
Yeah. Unless you're like to a point where you've hired a bunch of people to do it for you.
Exactly. You should always be growing. And if you're bored, like being bored and not having, I would say that being bored is the number one reason why people start another shop, where they've got something that they like to make and they're so married to their own idea that they can't let go of it. But that's not always best for the growth of your business. No. What you're wearing yourself too thin. So it's usually best for your brand and for you to make the most amount of money and potential profit, to just focus in on that one thing until you get to the point where you're able to scale it and you have the time to dedicate 100% of your energy into, two things because you have help with it. So let's see. Susan said, my collection, Playful Pups, keeps growing with new breeds. So she makes a product with new breeds of dogs on it, and she keeps growing her collection. How do I add the new ones as a launch when the others have been in my shop for at least a year? Susan, it sounds like you might not be following the launch strategy, because what you should be doing is launching new collection. So your collection, Playful Pups, that a collection is something that you launch, every few months. Some people do one once a month, which is a lot. It's kind of overkill for your own sanity, but we'll say you're having collections launching every 4 months. That means every 4 months you're adding, you'll add maybe 6 breeds in the spring, 6 breeds in the summer, 6 breeds in the fall, 6 breeds, around Christmas time. That's how you would do it. You're not just sprinkling them in. Those are the individual collections. Yeah. So let's see. Do you have suggestions for someone who is trying to basically recreate their entire Instagram and focus on a specific palette or theme?
Is that for me or you?
I think it's for you, because you're better. You're actually better at Instagram than I am. Just
like 6 times. Yeah. So
and you've recreated your look several times on Instagram.
Well, I say let go. Every time that I've honed in more and more, I delete all of the pictures that don't match, because it's not only for your followers, but it's also for you. You have to just like mentally let go of anything that's not serving your brand, not adding to the whole picture of what you want your brand to be seen as. But some people go on Instagram and they scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you don't, if you don't want your brand to be seen as something that you were making months ago, let it go. Delete it.
And I do that. I'll go through and I'll look at it all as one big picture. And if I see one photo that just doesn't match, I'm like, oh, one of these things is not like the other. And I get rid of it, process of elimination there, and get rid of all the things that just don't fit the image. So, Elaine, this sounds like a good question for me. What about selling products and teaching? I make jewelry, but my lessons sell, and I want to do online teaching. What should I concentrate on if teaching is in demand? Elaine, I am a coach, and I'm also an Etsy seller. And I will tell you that in terms of time, a lot of people think that they can be a coach along with, doing the business, which is great, because you want to obviously have experience in what you're teaching, whatever it is that you're personally teaching. Just know that you're not going to have more freedom. I thought that it would equal more freedom, and I actually work more hours now than I would be if I worked like a normal job. I work how many hours do you think that I've been averaging the last week?
70.
About 70 plus. It's been ridiculous, guys. So yes, it's possible. But you have to be really good at personal time delegation. And that's something that I'm getting better at, but I also had to hire help. I've got Mark who helps me, and I've got Nate who helps me. So it's just something to consider, and just make sure that you're really focusing on yourself and not letting your own, for a long time, you guys noticed that I gained a lot of weight, and I gained a lot of weight because I wasn't taking good care of myself. I really wasn't taking care of myself at all. So my mom is calling. So just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, and you're working on, number one, because number one's always going to be you. Just make sure that you are in the right mindset to be able to do both, and don't overbook yourself, because you will, get tired. Let's see. We'll do lightning round because we're coming up on the last 10 minutes, Leslie. Does that sound good? You want to do a lightning round of questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's knock out the last ones. Let's see. I have an item that gets a lot of favorites, but few sales. Any advice for getting people to actually purchase? This is kind of subjective. It gets a lot of favorites, but it doesn't get any.
Yeah, there could be a lot of things there.
Yeah. Leslie, do you have any advice for her? Because if not, I can weigh in.
I mean, the only thing that's off the top of my head is utilize the little heart feature that Etsy gives you that sends people who favorite your item a coupon. I mean, that's really.
Yeah. And guys, the number one reason that somebody would the number one reason that people add an item, we'll say, to their cart and not complete a purchase is they get to their cart and they see the shipping price stacked on top of it. And that usually distracts them. So this might be an opportunity, if you can swing it, to put your shipping price into your product price and try to incorporate in some free shipping and experiment with it. Because that's the number one reason people don't follow through with an actual purchase.
Right. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could make somebody not want to buy too. Like, are your pictures good? Are your descriptions good? Is your price good? You know, there's a lot of different things that could keep somebody from purchasing.
Yeah, or your description confusing. You've said that a lot, Starla. Like, if someone ends up looking at your product and they end up feeling confused at all by it, but any questions are not answered, they don't come buy it.
Yeah, there's a very small chance that they're actually going to contact you to figure out the thing that they're confused about.
Yeah,
they're just going to move on to somebody else who has it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I have a jewelry business on Etsy, but that's not my primary business. Does Etsy have a policy against including a business card or announcement about your side business? No, but I wouldn't do that. Unless that business is directly correlated, I feel like that's going to I wouldn't advertise like that. That's my personal preference, and you're free to do what you want. But I feel like that kind of cheapens your overall brand for that particular, because I wouldn't. If you want to experiment with it, there's no science behind that. I don't have any studies behind it, but personally, I wouldn't do that.
It sounds kind of dirty.
It's not dirt. It's not that it sounds dirty. It's just it's a little too much, and you're not really building a perception for the current brand. So
right.
I think that it's kind of a wasted resource because I doubt many people are going to take it and go. Because if they bought one thing, unless that item is very closely related, like maybe if Leslie sold, yoga attire, but then she had another shop that sold yoga mats and she included an insert about, go to my other shop and check out yoga mats, then that might tie in very well. But if you're, one of your shops is jewelry and then another shop is dog leashes or something like that, they don't really directly correlate and it might not be really helping either of the brands. So let's see. Okay, I see a lot of coaches put their Etsy shops on vacation indefinitely after coaching business takes off. This lesson, their credibility after a while. I really appreciate that Starla still sells.
We can barely keep up with it though.
We do still sell, but man, it does get tiring, guys.
Like when we do our pre-launches and we have like 100+ orders to sit and pack, like that takes us 3 or 4 straight days of packing orders.
Have you guys seen my Art by Starla Moore audience? They are raving. Like if I were to neglect that business, they would lose their minds. My brand is a lifestyle that people want to be a part of, and if I disappear, they lose their identity. They need me for their identity, and they will all go through a life crisis if I disappear. So, all right. So let's see. It looks like, do I mark up the cost of items in order to offer free shipping or eat the cost? No, you add it to you don't eat the cost. You should never be eating the cost of anything. You should be going for potential profit, and the best potential profit for each product. So if you can add it on there, add it on there. Do not sacrifice profit.
I mean, if you're a U.S. seller shipping to anywhere else in the U.S., as long as your product isn't huge, it's going to cost you less than $5 anyway. So it's not going to hurt you to add $5 onto your product cost.
Yeah, and I only offer free shipping for U.S. anyway, and it's still, every little bit helps.
No, we wouldn't make any money on international orders if we offered free shipping for international. It's usually like $15 or more.
All right, guys, we're coming up at the end of our Q&A. Leslie, would you like to real quick give everybody like the shout out for all of the places where they can find you and follow you? And what if there's influencers? What if they want to work with you? How do they get a hold of you?
All right, so you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Etsy, obviously, and it's all under Succulent Crystals. And yeah, let's work together.
Yeah, and guys, all those links are down below. If you click show more, Handmade Alpha Academy is open as of today. It closes on June 23rd, and it will be closed for a very long time, months and months and months and
Closes
months.
at
So
11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
yeah, so basically midnight. We just don't say midnight because people get AM and PM confused for some reason. So
Yeah.
so if you guys are interested in enrolling, you can find the link with a $1,000 discount down below. Otherwise, you can search handmadealphaacademy.com/sales if you would like to pay $1,000 more, which I doubt that you do. So be sure to go check that out.
We don't mind if you want to.
No, we don't mind. I mean, but you will.
Click in here. I'll type the actual link to it.
Okay, and you will get 12 months of E-Rank Pro. I will be taking over your payments. I'm not getting a deal from Anthony Wolf on that. We're really good friends, and I want to make sure that Anthony is getting the money for his amazing service that he will be offering to you guys. So big thanks to Anthony Wolf for that. And if you guys have any questions about Handmade Alpha Academy enrollment,
hit us up.
Email me at starla@handmadealphaacademy.com at any time to see if HAA is for your business.
Email
Email me.
Do it.
And if it's not right for your business, I will tell you, because we've already had to tell like 3 people today that they're not a good fit.
Please don't.
Yeah, please don't. It's
Please
not.
don't.
Not
if we tell you it's not a good fit, it's probably not a good fit.
Yeah. So please understand that we don't have like an auto-generated thing that we're just copying, pasting to everybody that says, wow, you're a great fit. Yes, absolutely.
And we're not going to take your money for the sake of taking your money.
Yeah.
It's not.
You're not allowed to sell your car to pay for this course.
It's not worth it for you or us.
We did that, Leslie. Last enrollment period, we had somebody try to sell their car.
Oh my gosh.
And we told them, we're like, you need to work on life
Right.
first before you try to enroll.
Like if you're going to have to eat ramen noodles for a couple of months after buying the course, just save your money and buy it in December.
That's why we have
Please.
free resources, guys. We do free stuff all the time.
You can just bother us individually.
Save
Email me.
save what you would pay for the 6-month payment plan every month. And then in December, you will have exactly the amount that you need to buy it.
Exactly.
And then if you don't, you know that you couldn't afford it.
Perfect. All right, guys. Be sure to follow Leslie. All of her links are down below. Leslie, thank you so much for hanging out. Please stay on the call. Don't hang up, because we will be able to talk to you privately for a few minutes. Guys, have a great weekend, and we will see you this upcoming Friday, where we will be doing an HAA exclusive Q&A. So have a great weekend, guys.
Oh.